One of the biggest reasons that recruitment agencies don't do L&D, they don't do training or coaching, is because they don't see the ROI. They don't see the return on investment because it's not cheap, right? It either costs money or time. And like most industries, most businesses, if you're not seeing an ROI, you're not going to do it anymore. But L&D is a little bit different. It's a little bit more nuanced than that, right? Because there is no direct ROI. Doing L&D doesn't automatically give you money or lose you money. It's more of a long-term process, right? And the reason that people don't see the ROI is because they don't know what they're looking for. They don't know how to track it. And this all comes back to the very early stages of L&D, before you've even done anything, before you've planned anything. What we need to do is look at the metrics that we want to improve. The reason why we are doing L&D in the first place. What are we trying to get better at? What are we trying to improve? Do we want to make more placements? Do we want to increase the average value of each placement? Do we want to bring in more clients? Or do we want to make our clients' experience better or our candidates' experience better? Do we want to get more CVs to each job? Do we want to improve our interview to placement ratio? There's so many different metrics that we can look at, whether they're quantitative or qualitative, right? Find that thing that you want to improve and focus on that. Because once you have that, you can then start to create an L&D strategy, a training plan, a coaching plan that is going to actually show you ROI, right? So once we have that, we need to then compare the recruiters before they've started on the training, during and after. Have we seen a difference? When we compare them, is the recruiter at the beginning better or worse than the recruiter at the end, right? How did they get on in the middle? Did we start to see a bit of a curve appear? Did it start slowly and then really ramp up? Did it go straight over there? Did it go up and then come down a little bit? Because actually the plan wasn't particularly great or the content wasn't great, so it needs a bit of refining, a bit of training. Or we need to focus more on the implementation phase of the L&D. And actually it got a bit better because they started implementing some of this stuff, but they kind of fell back into their old habits and lost it. So start comparing those recruiters from the beginning, in the middle, and at the end of training. Because that's when you're then going to really see that ROI. You're not going to see an instant change just because you've done some training now in January. You're not going to see February and March and April become amazing because you did that training in January, right? You'll start to really see the benefits, maybe quarter 2, quarter 3, and you'll definitely see some difference in quarter 4, right? Over the year, you'll start to see a massive, massive improvement, and you'll really start to see that ROI, even if it's just because they're making one extra placement a quarter, right? If it's placements that you're looking at and your average value is like 6K, that's an extra, 24K that they've built over the year that they wouldn't have made if they didn't do the training, right? So let's stop getting into that mindset of L&D and training. It doesn't bring us any ROI. There's no point to it. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of money. Let's start reframing in our head as a long-term investment and almost future-proofing your agency and developing your recruiters, right? And really narrow it down to a couple of metrics that you want to improve. Because you can't change everything all at once. You need to pick the key ones. What are the 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 metrics that you really want to focus on? But let's really dial it down. Maybe try and just get it to 1 or 2, right? Because that's going to be much easier to focus on. And what are they, and how can we measure and compare the recruiters before, during, and after the training? Because that is the best way to measure your ROI. A little point on this as well is actually talking to the recruiters throughout the process. Get their feedback on it. Get some quantitative and qualitative feedback from them. Did they enjoy the training? Did they learn things? Were there things they could take away? How could they implement these tips? Did they find that they were struggling to actually implement the stuff that they were learning, and therefore what they're learning isn't really that much value because they couldn't actually do it, right? Do they need more training around that implementation? Or were the actual sessions just not that engaging? So they liked the idea of the training, but they just lost interest. Was it too long or too short? Was it too much content, not enough content? Because you can tailor it along the way to then really start seeing that ROI and invest a bit more time and effort into protecting that ROI. Because the worst thing you can do is just leave it and think, well, yeah, it's great. We're going to really give it a good 6 months to see how we get on, to see if we start to see a change. For you to not have seen anything because of a simple thing you could have done and just got some feedback, right? So narrow down, what do you want to improve? How are you going to track that improvement? And get some feedback from the people actually doing the training to see if it's worthwhile to them. And that is the best way that you're going to track ROI from your L&D.